I faked being deaf. What I heard ruined everything. It started during sophomore year, after I got a double ear infection that left me completely deaf for nearly a month. No one in my family knew sign language, so I learned to read lips fast. But what surprised me most wasn't how isolating silence could be. It was what people said when they thought I wasn't listening. The first time it happened, I was lying on the couch while my sister, Ava, whispered to our cousin on FaceTime across the room, "She's so dramatic," Ava said, glancing over her shoulder, acting like being deaf makes her interesting or something. I stared at the ceiling, pretending not to notice. My hearing eventually returned, but I never told anyone. I let them think I was still deaf because I needed to know if that was a fluke or if the people closest to me really saw me that way. What I learned broke me. My parents, once warm and doting, began talking about me like I was defective. At night, over the clink of dishes, my mom would mouth, "She's not keeping up in school. It's like she's disappearing." My dad would sigh, "She's a different kid now. We need to focus on Ava's college apps. At least we can count on her." I sat 10 feet away in the dining room, chewing silently as their words cracked something in me. But Ava was the worst. She went from distant to cruel. At school, she told her friends how exhausting it was to babysit her broken sister. At home, she paraded her achievements like they meant more now that I wasn't competition. Once, I caught her mimicking my limp, a side effect from vertigo, in front of her boyfriend. They both laughed. I smiled, like I didn't know. I started documenting everything. Audio logs, videos, screenshots of group texts left open on laptops. I built a private folder titled "What They Really Think." I told myself I'd use it for something, maybe a college essay on betrayal. But really, I didn't know what I wanted until my 18th birthday. We hosted a backyard dinner, string lights, store-bought cake, fold-out tables. Ava had just gotten into Duke. Everyone was talking about her, even though it was my night. When it came time for gifts, my parents handed me a thin envelope. Inside was a printed letter about financial aid, my FAFSA results. No card, no message, just numbers. My dad smiled awkwardly. "We figured you'd appreciate transparency. College is expensive." And we thought, well, you'd want to be realistic. I nodded slowly. Ava got a MacBook and a leather-bound planner with her initials engraved in gold. That night, while washing dishes, I overheard my mom tell my aunt, "She's smart in her own way, but let's be honest, she's not going far. It's kinder not to give her false hope." My aunt nodded, pouring wine. "At least Ava won't have to compete with that." I walked outside, heart pounding, pulled out my phone, and made a choice. The next morning, during breakfast, family, a few relatives, and Ava all there. I stood behind my dad, clapped once, loud and sharp. He jumped. My mother dropped her fork. "Good," I said clearly. "You can hear me." Ava froze, mid-bite. My grandmother muttered something under her breath. I stepped forward, phone in hand. "For the past 2 years, you've all thought I was deaf. I wasn't. I just stopped telling you when my hearing came back because I wanted to know who you were when you thought I couldn't hear." I tapped the phone screen. Their voices filled the room. The clip. Ava mocking me at school. My dad saying I was a lost cause. My mom strategizing how to shift all funds to Ava's tuition. Their faces drained of color. "You treated my silence like absence," I said, tears blurring my vision. But I heard every word. I saw everything. And now I know the truth. Ava stood up, crying. "I didn't mean any of it." "Yes, you did," I said. "You just didn't mean for me to hear it." I handed my dad the envelope they'd given me, now sealed with a sticky note. "Don't invest in lost causes." Then I picked up my coat and left. That was 5 years ago. I graduated with honors and now work in clinical psychology, researching trauma and family estrangement. I help people rebuild what was broken in them by people who swore they loved them. Ava dropped out of Duke. My parents have tried to reconnect, citing miscommunication. I still have the folder. Still remember the silence that told me everything. People ask if I regret the lie. I only regret that I needed it to learn the truth.